And we are back with another Monday preview, guys. We have 3 games this week. We've got the Edmonton Oilers, the Calgary Flames, and then finally to finish up the week, we've got the Boston Bruins with a very exciting home game for the fans. There should be a lot of familiar faces at Saturday night's game against Boston. But we are going to cover the Edmonton and Calgary. Both games are at home. We've got Edmonton on Monday. I believe it's a 7:30 puck drop. With situation going with Edmonton right now, they've got a little bit of injured reserve, nothing crazy. You've got Tristan Jarry, who is their quote unquote starter right now, because remember a couple of weeks ago we had the Tristan Jarry for Stuart Skinner trade between Edmonton and Pittsburgh. And Tristan Jarry right now is out with a lower body. You got Jake Wallman out with a lower body, and then Adam Henrique, who's been out basically for the season, is out with a undisclosed injury. Because Tristan Jarry is out, in terms of goaltending for Edmonton, you're looking at Calvin Pickard and Connor Ingram. And then, guys, reminder, Connor Ingram was picked up from by Edmonton from Utah. Utah had put him on waivers, and then Edmonton picked him up. Good thing that they did. But aside from that, their injured reserve isn't too lengthy, so a lot of their guys are pretty healthy. At the time of recording, Edmonton is sitting 1 point behind Vegas in the Pacific Division, so they're 2 out of 8 right now. That may change just because it is pretty tight at the moment. Neither one of them are on a back-to-back, so the Hawks and Edmonton both have the day prior, which is the day that I'm filming. Both have Sunday off, and then they'll play on Monday, the day that this episode's dropping. So neither of them are on a back-to-back. This is the first half of a back-to-back for Edmonton, and both are away. So I would assume that they're going to split goaltending. Whether you start with Pickard or Ingram in Chicago, I am unsure. And also at the time of recording, Edmonton's last 10 are 5-4-1. They've done pretty well at the start of 2026. I believe you only have 2 losses right now within the first couple of games, which is 1 more than Chicago, because we only have 1 loss in 2026 so far. This is going to be a big game for the defensemen, because gosh darn it, keep the puck away from 97. That is a real big, just constant thing throughout this game and really any matchup against Edmonton. So it's going to be a big game for the defensemen. Here's hoping that this weird flu thing has subsided with the boys. I'd love to see Creech back in the lineup, but if Creech is not, then I think this will be an even bigger game for Korchinski, who is called up this weekend with the whole flu situation. I think this will be a big game for him and the defenseman as a whole, but hopefully Creech is back. I mean, hopefully everybody that's got that flu is coming back pretty soon. This is also going to be a very big game in terms of staying disciplined. We need to keep penalties to an absolute bare minimum against the Edmonton Oilers. I do not need to see Edmonton's power play. Yes, I like our penalty kill. Yes, our penalty kill has a great track record. Does not mean that I want to give them the option of having an Edmonton power play, just because we don't need it. We don't need it. So big other thing against Edmonton is just the boys really, really need to stay out of the box this game more than others. For other notable players within the Edmonton Oilers, obviously on the forward end, you have McDavid, you have Draisaitl, you have Nugent Hopkins, and you have Zach Hyman. On the back end, you've got Bouchard, you've got Nurse, and you've got Stastny. We've played them before. This is the second time that we've matched up against Edmonton. First time we took 1 point away. We lost in overtime. And it was a pretty good game by the boys. So hopefully they are able to, still ride this high of how well of a start that they are having at the beginning of 2026 with the one kind of slip up against Washington, but that's going to happen. Otherwise, it's been pretty gosh darn good so far this year. And by year, I mean the beginning of 2026, not the season. But we've had a couple of good handful of games. Hopefully the boys are able to still ride that, things are going well. But like I said, the big things with Edmonton is it's going to be a huge defensive game. The defensemen really need to step up. Not that they haven't before. Guys have been playing great, but this is a big game for them, and keep penalties to an absolute minimum. All right, and then the next one that we have up is the Calgary Flames. I believe this is our last time matching up against the Flames for this season because we played them quite a bit at the front half of the year. At the time of recording, Calgary is sitting 7th out of 8th in the Pacific, just right in front of the Vancouver Canucks. Their last 10 are 5-5-0. Their injured reserve is pretty lengthy, I will say. So we've got Coleman out with an upper body, Perrick out with an upper body, Beecher out with an upper body, Pospisil out undisclosed, Bean out undisclosed, Hanzik upper body, and then Henry Muse has been out for the season. Goaltending tandem right now is Wolf and Cooley. Your notable forwards are Huberdeau, Sharangovich, Frost, Lomberg, and Nazem Kadri. On the back end, you've got Uyghur, you've got Rasmus Anderson, and then you've got Zam Perrick. If he does come back, he's definitely a bigger piece for the Calgary Flames defensively. But otherwise, if he's still out, he's still out. Like I said, we're going to keep this one just to a minimal, just because we faced these guys before. This is the final time that we're going to face the Calgary Flames this year. And we have done fairly well against the Calgary Flames so far. This is definitely a game where we can play to our strengths of keeping the pace high, aggressive. If the kiddos can do exactly what they were doing Saturday against Nashville and just pucks on net all the time, it could be a very successful Thursday evening. So those are our two. We've got Edmonton on Monday. We've got Calgary on Thursday. And then next up, we are going to talk with our friends about the Boston Bruins. So guys, we have Liz and Emily from Pucks and Powerplays talking all things Boston Bruins. Heck yes. Guys, thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. I'm so pumped.
Yeah.
This will be very, very fun. So for starting off, for either new fans into hockey or maybe just West Coast fans like myself that don't know all of the ins and outs in Boston, who would you say are kind of the bigger pieces, either bigger names or just guys that have maybe stepped up this year and have definitely become a big piece within the Bruins?
Yeah, I think there are some definite obvious ones. You have David Pastrnak, you have Hampus Lindholm, you have Nikita Zadorov, you have Jeremy Swayman, Elias Lindholm, even for some of our like West Coast Calgary, Canada friends. You have Morgan Geekie has been a really big name this year, but I feel like there are also some like sleeper agents on the team this year. Alex Steeves is really one to watch out for. He is not somebody that I would have picked to like be a star this year, but has really been killing it, getting a lot of points for the team. Charlie McAvoy, I forgot to name him. That was really bad because he's one of my favorite players.
It's okay. We don't need him.
Yeah,
but we do. We really do, actually.
You know, he's great. We love him. But there's a lot of big names on Boston currently, but also in the past, you have like a star-studded history as one of the original 6 teams as well.
Speaking of Morgan Geekie, kind of having a hot year, were you guys surprised about like the point production that he starts having at the beginning of the season, or were you guys like, yeah, it's Geekie, he's gonna do this?
I think it was like a mix because he really picked it up at the end of last season, and we were hoping we would see it at the start of this season. And the fact that we saw it at the start didn't make it as much of a surprise. But the fact that he was the second player to hit 20 goals in the season and to be where he was as like the second leading goal scorer for the longest time was like probably the biggest surprise we've had about it.
Yeah, and then the 2025 calendar stats just came out, and he had the most goals in the calendar year of 2025, which I would not have guessed. He had 50 goals for the year. Definitely would not have guessed that looking at the stats.
Yeah, no.
Do you think, is it kind of just like him having a breakout moment, kind of being on maybe lines with guys he's better suited with? Is there like a particular reason or theory that you guys have that he is really cranking up in terms of production?
I think it's potentially a mix. I think he really found a groove in Boston last year. Liz, correct me if I'm wrong. Last year was his first year in Boston?
No,
First
I think it's his second.
Maybe second. Liz is our stat person.
I don't remember.
Liz is our stat and number person. I'm the vibes. But I think he really found his groove with Pasta last year. And I think ultimately where that has kind of led is it built his confidence a lot. I think he maybe potentially had a little bit of like, there was a lot of doubt at the beginning of the year. He wasn't producing as much. There was a lot of discourse in the Boston hockey community about if he was worth the money. And then it was like a switch flipped at some point, and he's been absolutely incredible since then. He found his groove last year. But I think ultimately it was like it built his confidence. And that is kind of what has transpired over this season is like his confidence kept growing last season because of the groove he had found himself in with his line mates. Right. And that line is not together this year, and he's still producing, which I think is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Another big piece that you named, former Blackhawk legend, as I like to tell everybody, Nikita Zadorov, kind of a polarizing personality depending on like what allegiance you have. Certainly if you're an Islanders fan, you're not liking him.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him in Boston?
I love him, but he needs to stay out of the box. That has been our biggest thing. When we had recorded on Monday, we looked at the stats, and he leads the league currently with 111 penalty minutes. And then it drops to like 80 something. Yeah. Would very much like him to stay out of the box if possible, because when he's the Zadorov, penalty guy,
right?
Not the best guy to have on the team on the ice at the moment because you're going to be getting called. But if he can play a game without getting called, love him. Great defenseman. I'll take it. Just dumb penalties maybe shouldn't happen.
Yeah. And I think one thing that was said in the media over this summer by our GM and our president was we wanted to have a more piss and vinegar team, which has continued to just bounce off the walls throughout the season. But there was this team in the 70s, Liz, 80s? The Big Bad Bruins is what they were called, and they were known for like this fighting style of like rough and tumble, jumping into the bleachers to fight fans.
Love it.
Type of situations, always fighting on the ice. And there was this kind of mentality that they wanted some of that back. Well, now you have the number one penalized team in the league this year being the Boston Bruins with, when we looked at it on Monday, it was like 590 something penalty minutes,
like 93 or something. Like
yeah.
It is.
So like we're getting that mentality back, but we're also not really winning all of the games, so maybe we don't need it as much. Right. But I agree with Liz. Like, yes, having that protective guy on the ice is great, but also like stay out of the box. He's a really great defenseman when he's out of the box too. But I'm also a big fan of his. I think the other thing with him is he's also a great leader off the ice that we've seen. Mm-hmm. He's really become the face of the social impact kind of things that the Boston Bruins do. So they're very, very, very community oriented. And he has been the face of a lot of community service projects this year. We don't currently operate with a captain. We have 3 alternate captains that we have. That third A is kind of rotating through some guys. But he's really stepped up into this leadership role at the end of last season after half of our team was traded away at the trade deadline. He especially stepped up. And this year he, I think, has even gone a step further and really helped with some community initiatives in the community as well.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, you guys went through kind of hell in a handbasket during trade deadline.
Oh my God.
Were you just like checking your phone being like, everyone's leaving?
So we thought we were safe.
We thought we were fine. And then, for those who don't know, like trade deadline ends at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's like 1:30, and we hadn't made a lot of big moves yet. We had maybe had one or two big guys that had gotten traded. Within the last hour and a half, all of our like heavy hitter, not all of them, but like 4 or 5 heavy hitters on our team, including the captain, Brad Marchand, were traded. We hit 3:00 and we thought we were good. The call, like the announcement of Brad getting traded, happens after 3:00, and we thought we were fine.
I think it was Coyle who was also after 3:00, him or Carlo, because 2 of them were Marshy and one of the others were right after 3, and the other one was right before 3:00, and we were like, shoot. Guys, I thought we were safe. We had the little group chat going, and we were like, guys, they're moving them. I thought we were safe. What happened?
What Trent Frederick was one of like the first ones to happen that day. We had kind of known he was going anyway. And then it was quiet for like a long time. And then all of a sudden half of the guys who have been there for 5+ years
are just
gone. Yeah.
I remember because like we really didn't have much drama on the Chicago end. It was kind of just like, is Ryan Donato going at the trade deadline or is he not? So because we really don't have many assets to trade. So I remember just like scrolling through and then getting a text from somebody else and they're like, Brad Marchand. I'm like, you're lying. And no, and they were like, no, Florida. I'm like, that's wacky enough that I believe it because never trust Florida.
And he picked it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're being told you're getting shipped off, go somewhere warm. Yeah. Like, I get that.
Go somewhere where you're gonna have fun. I get it.
It worked out with that cup or whatever.
But like, it could have been in black and gold is all I'm saying.
Yes. No, absolutely. Speaking of a kid, I think you guys got him during one of the trade deadline acquisitions with Toronto is the Fraser Minton, which as a Western Coast fan, love him.
Yes.
What has kind of been his role? How is he fitting in with Boston? What are your guys' thoughts on him?
Liz, go for it. Liz,
okay. I love him so much. He is my favorite. Well, not my favorite, but one of my favorites. Love him. He's kind of filled in this like third line role that we have now. Our current he's been the third line, I want to say all season. He's might have gone up or down a line or two throughout with all the injuries we've had, but he's consistently been on our third line. And right now we have him with Kuznetsov and Pasternak, which is very weird to hear Pasternak on the third line, but it's essentially the kids in pasta. And I love that line. It's fast. They're speedy. They click really, really well.
Yeah.
And like, I love him. He's not as fast as like certain players we have on the team, such as Kuznetsov, whose whole thing is just speed.
Yeah.
But he has skill, and you can see it that he's learning with each game that he plays. And I like seeing that in a young player too, is that they're not just like, oh, I'm in the NHL, let me just go for it. Like he's taking the time to learn as he plays, which is only just going to make him better as he gets older.
Do you kind of expect, because right now you said he's on the third line, do you expect him to be kind of a bottom 6 role in the future? Or you think because of maybe where the older guys are now, like in the rest of the roster, that he's third line for now, but has top 6 potential?
I could see him, I don't know if fully top 6, maybe like the middle 6, like second, third line. I could see him flopping between as, you know, our rosters change as the years go on. I don't know if I necessarily see him as like first line, but I can definitely see second line in the future.
Yeah. The other thing with that is we have, for a long time, we didn't have a prospect pipeline. Now our prospect pipeline is stacked. So the next like 2 to 5 years of Bruins coming in are top D1 players, that there is going to be some competition for those top lines too once the young kids get in here. It's going to be very interesting once our young pups make it up.
Are there particular prospects that you're the most excited for to see?
Yes. So we actually just had James Higgins and Will Zellers in the World Juniors for Team USA. They were two of the top producing guys for USA. Zellers is at North Dakota or South Dakota. I want to say it's North Dakota. And Higgins is at BC. I'm not gonna lie.
I want to say yes.
I always get the Boston colleges confused. But they especially they have just hit their stride, both of them this year. They both did insane at World Juniors over the last few weeks. But we have this like group of 6 guys right now at Boston College that are Bruins prospects that are finding their jam together in college. And I'm really excited to see how that's going to translate up to the Bruins over the next few years too. It was really cool to watch them at prospect camp.
Excellent. Yeah, and was Zellers the one that was the late addition to Team USA? I thought there was like a younger prospect that was one of the later ads, and then he did really well.
It might have been. He did insane. He was so like, and watching them both, like the clips of their play the last few weeks as well. Zellers especially, like we got him in a trade last year. He is just so smooth this year on the ice, and like his ability to see the game is just, it's grown a lot in the last 2 years. The other one I think of when I say that as well is like Dean Letourneau has really like just found his groove in D1 hockey, and his ability over the last year and a half has really grown. I'm excited to see him spend another maybe 2 years in college and see how much more he develops as well.
That's good to hear, because I think it was like after his freshman year, I heard rumblings that it was just more like question mark territory for Letourneau.
Yes.
But I'm glad that he's getting his footing more in college.
Yeah.
I mean, for a big guy like that, it's got to take a hot second.
Well, and I think he just didn't know where to put his arms,
right?
And his feet. Like he's a tall kid. It's not a kid.
They're all children.
But he's a kid.
He's a kid. But he's just so tall, and I think he just like hadn't been trained how to properly utilize his height. Because when you looked at his game, he wasn't like going like using it fully, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense.
Yeah. He didn't know where his limbs were, and I think he's at that awkward stage where it's like, okay, you just had your growth spurt, you know how tall you are, and now you have to figure out how to proportion your body to your new height.
Yeah.
And I feel like you saw that in his play a lot of like, oh, his arm's like suddenly over there, and it should not be over there at all.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just a big guy. Next question. This comes from my co-host that could not be here, but he was very curious on your guys' thoughts of Casey Middlestat and your thoughts on him, and will he ever be a second line center?
I personally don't see it currently with where he's at versus the other people we have on the team. He just like hasn't found his stride in Boston. I think there was a lot of opportunity when he came last year because we got rid of everybody. And he does well, but like I think everybody was expecting just like the next notch. And like it just hasn't seemed to just hit that next level.
Okay.
I don't know. Liz, do you agree?
I agree. I think it's also with who we have as centers based off our lines. He doesn't fit, because having Pasta click with Elias Lindholm and Geeky push Zaka down to the second line, and having Zaka as your second line center made sense. But if he clicked on the first line, I feel like maybe you could have forced Middlestat into that second line center role.
Right.
But he didn't click there either when he would play. I feel like he's been better on his wing than he has been as a center. And I'm wondering if that's like trying to get him comfortable with line mates as well was a huge thing of like, okay, throw him on the wing, get him used to the system, and then try him at center.
Right.
But I don't think he works for a second line center for this team.
We have a lot of guys that are centers.
I mean, that's a fantastic problem to have.
Go to the wing. Go to the wing.
I think we had a line last season that was literally 3 centers.
Yes.
Just one whole line, and we had to have 2 of them play wing. And it's like, okay, someone's thrown out of the face-off. I'm not worried. We have another center going in.
I think Chicago and Boston need to make a trade because we're like working with our 4th line center as our number 1 center right now.
I mean, listen, the Boston fandom's nickname for Chicago the last few years is the Chicago Bruins because so many players from the Bruins have made their way to Chicago.
Well, and vice versa. You guys have my boy Henry.
Yeah, it's and I think it's so funny because I feel like original 6 teams have that more than like some of the other teams. Is like you end up with a lot of trades between original 6 teams more than like some of the other teams, like their loyalty to each other. It's the biggest rivalries, but it's sometimes also the biggest loyalties to each other. They like,
oh, for sure. We love trading with original 6 and then trading with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they made some big trades with the Hurricanes last year.
Yeah.
Woo.
Woo. I think those are the only phone numbers in the phone book.
Yeah.
Are just original 6 and whoever's GMing Carolina for the moment. Jumping kind of back to a position that we really haven't talked about is your guys' goaltending tandem. And of course, you've got the future Olympian, Jeremy Swayman.
Mm-hmm.
But what are your thoughts on the tandem? I know it's had some ups, some downs, a little bit of everything.
It's a really funny question to ask over the last few weeks because Jeremy Swayman has now played the last 9 out of 10 games.
Jesus. And 23 out of 30.
And I think it's a little, personally, my personal opinion based on no expertise at all, it's a little much. It's a little much.
That's some Hellebuck stats. Like, that's a lot.
And we're paying. We are paying for Sir Corpusalo. So give him, like, I understand playing a goalie when he's hot. It's like, absolutely. However, we were on a 6-game losing streak.
Right.
During that 9 out of 10 plays. So, maybe we shouldn't do that. Just an idea.
Play the goalie while he's hot, but no one's hot right now.
No. Give them equal footing in that 6-game losing streak because oh my gosh. And like it's one thing to play a goalie that long when your backup is like just a backup. They don't make money. But when your backup makes $3 million and is just sitting there, maybe utilize him a bit more. Like, I love Corpy. I think he can be a great goalie, and we have seen him play fantastic games.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think going from a starter to being a full backup, as we saw a bit last season, and how we're now starting to see now that he's not playing as consistently, he starts to get a bit rusty and have issues. So it would be better to move him at this point if you're just going to sit $3 million on the bench.
Yeah, especially when in Providence, which is our AHL team, you have Michael DiPietro, who was the number 1 goalie in the AHL last year, and Simon, whose last name I can't say. Simon, who is
we love Simon.
We love Simon. We have 2 really great goaltenders in our AHL team.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cheaper options if they're just going to be a backup goalie. So if we're doing a backup goalie, let's maybe not pay $3 million for him.
Do you guys think it's like reasonable that you'll be able to move Corpy potentially, or is it kind of, I wish?
I think yes and no. I think we're all aware of the goalie drought that is currently existing in the NHL, AHL, ECHL, all of the HLs. So I think like potentially there is a chance for him to move. I think there's other conversations happening in the background that we're not aware of, because there was a complaint of Corby's coming off of last season on how little he played. So I'm interested to know like what happened behind the scenes that we're now playing him even less. But like there's no trade rumors about him. Like, I mean, there've been like 2, and they were very unsubstantiated trade rumors that you were like, this is dumb. I personally would love to see him moved. It was my whole thing. My entire summer was spent campaigning for a Corby trade. And it didn't happen, but it's okay.
But it's because you love DiPietro, which, like, fair. I do too. I love both of them.
From injury now, so I mean,
and Providence is doing something right. So
yeah. But I think there like so many teams right now are saying we need a goalie, we need a goalie, we need a goalie. Okay, we got one. You interested?
Yeah.
Because he's sitting on the bench for $3 million. And he is like, when he is in the groove and when he's focused and when he's confident in himself, he's a great goalie. He's just in a tandem with Jeremy Swayman. Like, there's only so much you can do there.
Especially when one of you's making $8 million. Like, you're gonna play him more versus $3 million, which is essentially nothing compared to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's the crazy thing about AHL is like, it's designed to be a development league. So like these teams have the decision of when you have a situation like that, like, do you pick this guy that needs the development? Or do you pick the guy that, like, you know, is a good goaltender, you're paying him a crap ton of money, but, like, he's already there.
Right.
Like, does it matter when you could be developing this guy who's actually doing really well still? Like, it's this.
Last couple of questions. Who would you say, and this doesn't have to be, like, the best player so far this season, but your biggest surprise for the Bruins?
Alex Steves, for me, is my biggest surprise. Did not make the NHL roster coming out of camp. Spent not a lot of time down in the AHL, only a few games. Came up, I believe, because of an injury, and said, I'm staying, and has just absolutely been rocking it. Wasn't even on my radar to make the NHL roster. He was great in the AHL last year, top of the charts in the AHL last year. But it wasn't connecting when he got called up.
Right.
Got called up this year and said, I'm staying. You're not sending me back. He's my, like, my eyes are on him now.
Nice.
I had him, but I also have 2 defensemen.
Okay.
So at the start of the season, I had Jordan Harris because he made the team out of camp, and we did not have him on our list at all. We thought Callahan was going to be our 7th defenseman, but Harris beat him out. And honestly, I loved watching him play.
Yeah.
Up until he got injured.
Yeah.
He's still in his boot, I think, and I'm waiting for the day he comes back. But because of all of our injuries and the fact that we went through, like, I want to say 10 defensemen by Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's not been pretty.
It was crazy.
Jonathan Asperot.
Between LTIR and IR, we had like 6 guys at one point out. And that's just like actually listed out. Then you have people that are like just scratched that were still. It was a lot for a while.
I think we're back to 6 again with Hampus.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted your asparagus talk.
No, you're good. Asparagus. I love that. My family calls him Apricot because we just can't say his last name.
Aspero,
love him. He's Apricot, Asparagus, all the fun names now.
Yep.
Yes.
But, like, he really made a case for himself with all the injuries and the fact that he's still in our lineup with all the guys we've acquired because of injuries on top of that. I look forward to watching him on the ice, and like I was super excited when he came back from his own injury for a bit. So watching him has been really, really cool lately. My eyes have been mostly on him defensively because I feel like that's where we need to start looking with all the injuries that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they stop. Please stop.
If like our defense wanted to show up at any time, that'd be cool. Like
all healthy
there.
Please.
Well, that feeds into what my next question was going to be. And this can be a mentality, a hole in the lineup, injuries. If we could just beat this team, what do you think? What is the biggest hurdle for the Boston Bruins right now?
Injuries. 100%. It has changed so many of our lines throughout the season of how they all play, and then you can see it in how some of them play as well, where like if their two line mates go down and then they're on a new line, it looks like they're not like trying to learn how to play hockey again, but it looks like they're trying to learn how to play hockey again because they're trying to click with their teammates. But for some of them, that transition's been better. But I think mostly staying healthy is like our biggest issue, because when we are healthy, we are a decent team. Not like top of the league team, but maybe close to like
competitive
wild card. We were in the wild card position at Thanksgiving, which was a huge shock with all of the injuries. So I think if we can stay healthy and minimalize how many injuries we actually have, it'll be better, because if it's just one or two, that's fine. But if we have like 6+ and we go back to being the hospital Bruins, we're not having the time of our life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like it's been making it hard for the guys to gel, especially like we have the Olympic break, so we have heavy schedules. The Bruins had the heaviest schedule before Christmas out of most of the teams. They were like one of the top heaviest front end schedules. So it then creates this issue where like there's not consistency for these guys. Like you can tell this team is having a lot of fun off the ice, but when you have like a piecemeal line setup each game,
right.
We call it the blender. When you have blender lineups, like you can't gel enough with your line to figure it out enough to get it down the ice. We saw a lot of turnovers for a while, but you also like everybody has gotten injured. We have our dear darling bubble boy Charlie McAvoy. Like you had Pasta out for a while. You had Hampus is back out. Hampus is out the second time. Like everybody, it feels like everybody's taken a turn in the hospital so far.
Yeah, gosh, y'all are going through what we went through last year. It was a big blunder time, and there was a lot of critiques on like Bedard's semi lack of production last year. And I'm like, he's got a different line mate every game. Yeah. Also, he's a child. Leave him be.
This is something we always talk about on Pucks and Powerplays is the critiques that come of players sometimes are so insane, but especially of these really, really young kids. We talk about Bedard and we talk about Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini all the time. They are not children, but in the eyes of NHL, they are 18, 19, 20. They are fresh. They are the age of your D1 hockey players. Are they a little bit more skilled? Yes, but like not by much. They just happen to get on a team that really needs that skill set because they don't have it across the board. And I feel like Bedard especially like was in this situation where there wasn't a lot of younger players for a hot sec on this team.
There was none.
There was nobody. And like he's this baby hanging out with all these older guys. And then like they're criticizing every single thing he does, as opposed to the next year you have Mac and Will who have each other in this craziness and they're figuring it out together. So like then they're building their confidence together. You saw a lot of like, I mean, still now you're seeing a lot of social media stuff with them. Like they've become best friends, but they also had each other to do it together. As opposed to like Bedard is figuring it out on his own with this like older team. And he's like doing his best and y'all are just throwing him in the trash because he doesn't have the time to figure it out. Like, sorry, side tangent. I have big feelings about that one.
No, hey, I mean, honestly, this week is kind of also, the week of let's not bully the children.
Social media on the Hughes brother. I just
stay away from the kids, please.
Let the kids play.
I saw that and I could not, I can't imagine purposely booing a kid.
No. And then the constant comparisons to his brothers as well, and being like, oh, you live in the shadows of them. I thought you're Quinn. Oh, you're supposed to be like Jack. And it's like, he's his own person and he's a kid. Let him come into his own. He's his own player.
And it's just hockey. I understand the argument that they get paid quadrillions of dollars. Fully aware.
But it's a game.
Their job. I understand that. They are not curing cancer. They are pushing around a piece of rubber.
And having fun.
Money because we spend that much money. If we all as consumers stopped spending money on this dumb sport, it would go back to being a stick on a pond and nobody would be making money. It makes so much money because we consume so much and put much into it. So it's your own fault that he's getting paid millions of dollars. Either way, it's just a damn game and it's a piece of rubber on a piece of ice on a little piece of metal. And he just goes,
let the kids play.
I also have big feelings about parasocial relationships. And I think it's very this very much leans into that parasocial thing where I'm like, leave him alone. You don't know him. You have no clue who this guy is. Let's also maybe not dictate his life for him at a young age. Because if you had told me any of this stuff when I was in college, I would have been like, no, thank you. Leave me alone. I have no idea who you are. And I'm going to do whatever I want to do. F off. Actually, I'm pretty sure I did do that anyway.
Yeah. So let the kids play.
Exactly. Let them have fun and let them learn.
Final question. What is because I know we've got a couple of weeks left and then we have the Olympic break and then absolute craziness to the end of the year. What is kind of your expectation? You can do hopeful expectation, realistic expectation for kind of the next couple of months with the Bruins.
That's a really great question.
I think my hopeful is to not have another six game losing streak. Or 6 game plus losing streak. Would very much not like to see another one.
Yeah.
That's hopeful.
Yeah. My hope would be that we're just not last right now. We're kind of getting into this swamp-ish area with our playing. We're just not doing great. My hope is that we just try to give it a fighting chance to get to the playoffs. I think one thing that was very evident last year was after trade deadline and we traded half of our team away, so I think it was very clear we weren't going for the playoffs. But you also saw the team not go for it either. If they had pushed a little bit more, they could have made it to playoffs. They were on that edge where it was if they show up, we could do this. And it just didn't happen. My hope is that this team just fights for it. You can see the games where they come ready to battle and the games where they step on the ice and you go, they're not there.
Right.
I want to see them ignite that a little bit more throughout the rest of the season and just give it a fighting chance.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll win the game either way, but
I want to go back to start of the season because, like you were saying, at the start of the season, even if we lost a game, they fought for the entire 60 minutes. And you would see it for like the first, I want to say, month and a half, or maybe just month, somewhere between a month to a month and a half. We fought for every single game. Didn't matter if we were winning or losing. We were constantly in it. And lately, we just haven't been. You see us and we try, and it's like, oh, they're trying. They're doing something. And then it just spirals and it gets out of hand and they give up. And I want them to go back to always trying, because back then I didn't care if we lost. Whatever, it's a game, they tried. But now it's losing games and not trying. It's like, so are we actually going to play hockey and show up? Because now it's getting a bit annoying that no one's actually trying.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on and teaching us everything Boston hockey related.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. It was really fun.
Yeah, thank you.